and Mrs. Georgia Boston, Mrs. A. Dennis, and Mr. Young, my day watch, Mr. G. Basil, and others who visited me and brought word of cheer to a dying man, and through their song and prayer, my soul was made alive, and I'm leaning on the everlasting arm of Jesus, for I know that Jesus died for all mankind. I could not leave this world with a lie in my mouth. John Snowden, the day before he died, which was February 27, 1919. My father was born on January 5th, 1900. My brother was born on January 5th, 1956, and I was born on January 5th, 1957. Right, 57. I messed up. But this was a very happy day for me when I saw that they called me on my job. I said, how these people, I mean, you know, they can find you anywhere. I was found to tell me that my uncle was pardoned after I wrote this letter, and I'll read it for you if you don't mind. I was living in this home when I wrote this letter. Okay, thank you. I was living here when I wrote this letter to the then Governor Paris Glendenning, the State House in Annapolis. Please pardon my Uncle John Snowden. It was all caps and bold, because I was serious. I wasn't playing. Too much time has passed. John Snowden, my father's brother, was hanged on February 28, 1919. He was innocent of the crime against Lottie Mae Brandon, who was murdered on August 8, 1917. Despite the severe beatings and torture, which included putting a gun to his head and squeezing his genital area, my Uncle John Snowden went to the gallows without confessing to the heinous crime. The incident has been documented and investigated, and the only evidence against my father's brother was purely circumstantial. John Snowden had numerous supporters, including 11 jurors who asked that his life be spared, but he was still found guilty. Because he believed that my uncle was innocent, a man pleaded to take his place. John Snowden, refused to confess to the crime because he was truly falsely accused. In fact, a portion of the letter sent to my uncle after my uncle was hanged read as follows: I could not stand to see another man live with my heart, so I put Lottie out of the way. Now, what does that tell you? That wasn't John Snowden writing that. That was this man who did it. Yes. And the papers knew it. They did nothing. But as his niece, I looked in that face, I saw those articles, I did this. But let me continue. And it says, I have intensely, and this is coming from me, I have intensely watched investigative reports on A&E about convicted murderers, and each one confessed to the crime, was sorry, and apologized to the family. We all know, we saw this. You go look at those crime shows, what do they do? I'm sorry. I did this. I'm sorry. I apologize to the fact. My uncle didn't do that. They squeezed his testicles. They put a gun to his head. They kept him up all night. I stayed up all night last night. I got a little bit of rest, but several nights I stayed up to get my yard so that you all can enjoy it. And I hope you enjoyed my work I did. We painted, we did the dance floor and all this stuff. And it's for him. He suffered. And it was hard for him, and it was hard for me, but I did. And Smitty, I thank you for helping me to know how to build a wall. Because I built a wall right here. I built a wall over there. I built a wall over there. And I'm getting ready to build a wall out front. Thank you, Smitty. But let me go on with my letter. Let me go with my letter still. And now I'm gonna wrap it up here. From my childhood, I recall a newspaper article that my father had taped to his bedroom mirror that I read every day for a long time. It ended with a statement that read, the police received a telephone call from a man who was crying and said, you hung the wrong man. I did. Then hung up the phone. Wow. My uncle was only 30 years old when he was put to death on February 28, 1919. And it's now time for his name to be cleared. He did not kill Lottie Mae Brandon on August 8, 1917, and therefore should be pardoned as soon as possible. All caps and bold. 10 years ago, prior to this letter, 2000 March 29th, a private investigator re-examined the case and concluded that the evidence did not add up as my uncle as the killer. I'm saying that when I was a little girl. How about that?
Yeah.
Okay, the last paragraph. Okay, wait. Here, last paragraph. 2. Prominent citizens such as Carl O. Snowden, who holds the office of at the time, Special Assistant to the County Executive, and George Phelps, historian, who was on the Governor's Criminal Justice Coordinating Council and then appointed to the Governor's Executive Clemency Board, and others had made, you haven't had to hold it this week, I'm having trouble with this little teeny print, and then, okay, and even though I wrote it, was like eons ago seen, and others have made great strides in ensuring that this matter is kept in the light. Mr. Carl Snowden sent pardon requests to the governor's office twice with no response thus far. Mr. Glendenning, as I was saying, I ask that you would please make the pardon of my father's brother, John Snowden, a high priority. This matter will not disappear. Thank you. And I sent the letter out. So this here is the official pardon statement. I had it hanging on my wall in my home. This is a copy, but the gold seal, the gold pen, and everything, and it reads, be it known that whereas John Snowden, grantee, was convicted of murder in the Circuit Court for Baltimore County on January 31st, 1919, and hanged on February 28th, 1919, now therefore I, Paris N. Glendenning, Governor of the State of Maryland, had thought proper the extension of clemency under the authority vested in me by law, do hereby grant unto John Snowden a full pardon, absolving him from the guilt of this criminal offense, of his criminal offenses, and exempting him from any pains and penalties imposed upon him, therefore by law. The seal. And we had a celebration thanking him. I'm not going to read this, but if you like to read it yourself, you're welcome to. But if you want me to read it, I'll do it, though. Huh? You want to hear it? Okay, me too, yeah. Because, I mean, in Annapolis, we had something at the cemetery to raise money to get a plaque for my uncle. This is the plaque right here. And it's part of his last statement right here. This is the part, it starts with, I have been in prison, and the rest. But this article reads, does anybody want to read? Because I'm like, no. Gotta go. Okay. See you. Thank you. That's enough.
That's enough.
That's what you say. Does everybody in agreement that that's enough?
That's enough.
Okay, that's enough then.
Yeah, good job.
Thank you. Bye, Bernard. Bye, Wanda. Thank you for coming. Okay.
Beautiful.
Oh, did you want to say something? She wants to say something. Give her the floor.
You want to say something?
I'm taking this back to the house. Did I do good, Steve?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I got a video.
Oh, thank you, Steve.
You have about your stepmother too.
Well, as you know, I never knew Mr. John Snowden, but the empathy and the feeling that Hazel has had since she's met me have made us kin.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Snowden was 30 years old, she said, and his whole life was ahead of him.
Mm-hmm.
He hadn't even lived his life. But that's for all of us to see that we are sermons in motion. And I'd rather see a sermon than hear one any day. I'd rather one should walk with me than merely point the way. The eyes, a better pupil, more willing than the ear. Fine counsel is confusing, but an example always clear. And the best of all the preachers are the men who live their creed. For to see the best in others is what everybody needs. I know that I can do it.